We're going to jump into some possible trades the Falcons could make, along with a schedule rumor. But first things first, we are in a sub battle with our Vikings channel here at Chat Sports, hosted by Patrick Seaman. He does a pretty good job, but I'd love to beat him in subs this week. And we are, 50 subs off the leaderboard? So hit that big red button if you have not already. Coming up on today's show, we're going to check out 2 trades proposed by Bleacher Report. One trade with someone going out of Atlanta and another trade with someone coming to Atlanta. And then at the end of the show, we have some trivia for you guys, along with a schedule rumor / schedule piece of news before the big release tomorrow. But let's start with the first trade on the docket, and that is about Cordarrelle Patterson. Bleacher Report suggested that the Falcons move Patterson to Cleveland. So let's break down the idea of trading CP84, run through some stats, and then I'll give you my take. Now, some background information here. Patterson did turn 32 years old this offseason, so as far as just running backs and skill players go, he is definitely towards the end of his career. He also has a decent cap hit for 2023, $5.5 million. Now, his dead cap hit is $3.7 million. $3.7 million might not sound like a lot, but for the cap savings, it wouldn't be all that much, the difference of 5.5 and 3.7. So are you dying to move on from Cordarrelle Patterson? Like, are you going to tell Arthur Blank, hey, can we please pay someone $3.7 million not to play on our team that's a good football player still? Might be a bit of a tough sell on that. Now, last year he only played in 13 games. That was a career low for him, for the Iron Man, the former first-round pick by the Vikings. Speaking of Vikings now. Now, through 2 seasons so far in ATL, 1,300 rushing yards, 670 receiving yards, and a whopping 19 touchdowns in 29 games played. Now, this is what Alex K. from Bleacher Report said based on trading Cordarrelle Patterson. The Atlanta Falcons have plenty of capable running backs and not enough touches to go around. After the team invested the 2023 number 8 overall pick in Bijan Robinson and returned Tyler Algier following his breakout 1,000-yard rookie campaign, Cordarrelle Patterson could see his role severely diminished. And Alex K is right on the money. The running back room is very crowded. Atlanta wants to run the football this year, so I could see them having a bit of a 3-headed monster between these 3 guys in Bijan's rookie season. But let's be honest, they could definitely get by with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and Caleb Huntley when he's healthy. Like, that is a very, formidable running back room. They want to run the football, but you've got 3 players who arguably could be RB1s on 3 different teams. Like, that's how talented they all are right now. Patterson towards the end of his career, but I bet there are some teams out there that would rather have Patterson than their current back for at least 1 season. So be honest with me. Before I give you my take, would you be open to trading CP84? The guy's been such a great ambassador for the team in the city in such a short time. It makes it tough. But give me your thoughts down below. This is the pinned comment, so scroll on down and type Y for yes or N for no. Now, like we said, the Falcons running back room is pretty loaded. Like, Bijan and Algier could definitely get the job done by themselves. So adding Cordarrelle Patterson is just playing with house money at this point, right? The ground game is not going to float or sink based on the RB3 in this offense. Atlanta drafted Bijan at number 8. You have Tyler Algier, who rushed for 1,035 yards, an Atlanta Falcons rookie record last season. So, does Atlanta want to carry 3 capable backs, or do they want to consolidate their assets a little bit, right? And trade Patterson away and try to get a pick for him because they're probably not going to use him all that much with their RB1 and RB2 being 2,000-plus yard rushers, I would bet, in their first 2 seasons in the NFL. I don't know. I don't have a good yes or no definitive one way or another when it comes to trading Cordarrelle Patterson. He's quickly become a fan favorite. I mean, wherever he goes, he is beloved in the locker room. He's a great ambassador for the team. He always sticks, maybe not for a long time, but he always finds himself being at, the center of every team's fan base, and everyone loves having him on their team. He makes great plays in the running back position, at the wide receiver position, in special teams. But outside of special teams, I don't really know what kind of role he will actually have this upcoming season. So if someone wants to give a pick for a RB3, most GMs are probably not going to think too long about that, because what's an RB3 going to do? Like, you like to have the depth in case an injury pops up and Cordarrelle Patterson's your backup running back. That is awesome for a head coach. But if Bijan plays all 17 games and Tyler Algier is healthy too, Cordarrelle Patterson's not going to see more than 3 to 5 carries max per game. Last season, Algier and Cordarrelle Patterson, here's how their stats stacked up against one another. CP84 missed some time middle of the season, and Algier really took over and took off after that. 1,000 yards, and he did not even play all 17 games. 210 carries, nearly 5 yards a pop. Now, Cordarrelle's been an awesome receiving threat. That's definitely been an edge. That's definitely an edge he'll have over Tyler Algier, and that can be a fun way to use him. But again, if you plan on running Bijan Robinson, your number 8 pick, kind of not into the ground his rookie year, but give him a more than healthy doses of carries in his first season, I don't really see what kind of role Patterson's going to have on this offense outside of some special trick plays, some gadget plays, getting the ball in open space types of things. But how often is Patterson going to line up in the I formation on 1st and 10 and take a handoff for 6 yards behind Lindstrom? Probably not that often, right? Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier need to make up, 100% of the workload, barring an injury. I mean, this is what I'm talking about here. These are your 2 running backs, right? You got a 1,000-yard rusher last year and the number 8 overall pick this year. Like, you should be using these guys. I'll be very upset if Atlanta uses a top 10 pick on a running back and then decides, you know what we should do? Let's give that 32-year-old guy a lot of Bijan's carries. No, that is just not a good use of your assets. If you want to use the number 8 pick on a running back, use him. Don't give it to a 32-year-old back on the last year of his contract. Sorry, Cordarrelle. Now, this was Bleacher Report's trade idea, and Atlanta does not get a lot in return. It's just a 7th-round pick. Kind of like Deion Jones, maybe it's just time to kind of move on, right? More than just, maybe we can get something for him. No, maybe it's just time to move on. Unfortunately, a 7th-rounder is as good as it's going to go for a 32-year-old running back on the last year of his contract. I like Cordarrelle Patterson a lot, and if it's only going to get you a 7th, maybe it's worth holding on to him just to have in the locker room, have on special teams, and have for those few gadget plays. But a 7th-rounder isn't really going to move the needle all that much to me when it comes to whether or not Atlanta should or should not trade Patterson. But let me know what you're thinking. If you were Fontenot, would you accept this trade? A for accept or D for decline? It's a pretty low-level trade, and the fact that you're only getting a 7th for him, maybe you hold on to him for the leadership purposes. Even if he does not get a whole lot of usage, I like having Patterson on this sideline all year long. Now, I want to talk about another trade from Bleacher Report. This time, it is Patrick Queen coming to Atlanta from Baltimore. The Ravens did not pick up Queen's 5th-year option, which anytime that happens, teams' ears perk up a little bit and go, oh, so you don't see him long-term. We think he's a good player. What's it going to cost to get him? Now, through 3 seasons so far, Patrick Queen's PFF grades have steadily risen, right? 29.7 in his first year, 43.5 in year 2, and 70.0 in this past season. So Patrick Queen, so far in his career, has been one of those players where you look at some great linebackers like Devin White, not Roquan Smith, but other off-ball linebackers, Jalen Smith, where when you watch them play and you look at their stats, you're like, oh, this is a great player. Like, this is an absolutely awesome guy to have. But I don't know if Patrick Queen is really worthy of what kind of money he might be seeking because, yeah, stats are great and all. But if you're just filling out the stat sheet because you're getting tackles because the defense funnels them to you, or because you're making tackles because you were behind in coverage and you made a tackle after your tight end picked up 12 yards, those aren't really good tackles. Now, I also want to look at Atlanta's linebacker room here because they've got some pieces that they want to see grow, right? They just signed Caden Ellis. They drafted Troy Anderson in day 2 last season. Michael Walker showed a lot of good things in his rookie season. So the Falcons linebacker room is young. I would like to give them a chance. All right, I'd like to see what Troy Anderson and Mykal Walker and Caden Ellis can be on this team. Patrick Queen might be a better football player than those guys, but is he so much better that you want to give up a pick and give him a contract because likely you would extend him with 1 year left on his deal? That I'm not so sure about. Queen would definitely be intriguing because I think he's a good football player. I think the stats, like I said, might be a bit deceiving, right? If you ask Ravens fans, you go, what's the problem? The guy had over 100 tackles last year. It's like, well, yeah, but he also had a bunch of missed tackles. And, it's kind of like, Trae Young scored 35 points. Yeah, but he also shot the ball 60 times, so I hope he scored 35 points. Like it's one of those what came first, the chicken or the egg type of situations here. But let me know what you're thinking. Would you trade for Patrick Queen? T for trade or P for pass? I'm going to pass. I want to see what Troy Anderson and Mykal Walker and Caden Ellis can do before I'm giving up a pick and giving out a big contract for a position that's somewhat declining in value. Now, to wrap up the show, you have some schedule news and rumors. I'm sure we all know by now, but Adam Schefter this morning tweeting out the foreign international games, the 2024 international schedule, starting with Atlanta and Jacksonville in London at Wembley Stadium. So get ready to be one of those guys that wake up super early for EPL games and catch a Falcons game, which I have mixed feelings when your team plays in London, right? On one hand, it kind of sucks watching the game at 9:30 in the morning, but on the other hand, if your team wins, you get to enjoy the rest of Sunday, right? You get to watch all the other games on Red Zone stress-free. So it's a decent, potential making for the Sunday if your team wins here. How about the Jags playing twice, by the way? We also have a schedule rumor. So NFL Schedule Update is this Twitter account that just, I don't know how to describe it. It scrapes the bottom of the barrel of NFL rumors and leaks when it comes to the schedule. I don't know if it's someone's burner or what, but schedule leak, Panthers at Falcons, Week 1, September 10th. So, with that said, Bryce Young potentially coming to Atlanta, most likely going to be the Panthers' Week 1 starter. I've got some interesting facts for you guys because I think this is good for the Falcons, right? History is on Atlanta's side here. The number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft since 2000 when a quarterback is 1-9-1 in Week 1. So history favors the Falcons here, right? If Bryce Young starts, he does not have history on his side. Number 1 overall picks when quarterbacks are 1-9-1 in the last 23 years. Now, I've got some trivia, so don't change the screen just yet, Trace. Who was the last quarterback, the only quarterback since 2000 to win in Week 1? Now, you can't include guys that did not play in Week 1. Like Baker Mayfield for the Browns. The Browns did not win Week 1 anyway, but he did not play Week 1. So you got to remember which quarterback started right out the gate, and did their team win Week 1, right? Who is that? Where is it? Right there. Who is that number 1 for? I'm going to pause the video and give me your best shot down below in the comment section. Here it is. The answer. David Carr with the Texans beating the Cowboys 19-10 in the Houston Texans' first game back in 2002. Every other quarterback taken number 1 overall starting Week 1 has lost since David Carr. So Bryce Young could be the first quarterback. Let's hope not to win in Week 1. By the way, that one tie was Kyler Murray against the Lions back in 2019 or whatever. But no other quarterback since David Carr has won their first game Week 1 after being picked number 1 overall. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. We will see everyone tomorrow for the entire Atlanta Falcons schedule release. So long, guys.